The cave up.
Okay, here we go. And the figure above is a square. So what's the value of z? Okay. So in order for this to be a square, all of these lines have to be straight lines. So these 2 points line up with 2 on the x-axis. So we've got 2, 1, and 2, negative 2. These 2 points have to line up with negative 2 on the y-axis. So you can see they both have a y of negative 2. So these 2 points are lining up with negative 1 on the x-axis. And these 2 points are lining up with positive 1 on the x-axis. So this should be negative 1. Did y'all get that? You can kind of tell just by looking. Okay. The next one, finding the length of a line that's not vertical or horizontal. Remember, draw in a triangle. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. All right, so this is one where it's not a Pythagorean triple. We don't have a 4, 6. So what we'll have to do is actually do the Pythagorean theorem. All right, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 4 squared plus 6 squared, or 16 plus 36, that's 52. So D. All right. Okay. In the figure above, the coordinates for point A are negative 2, 2, and the coordinates for point B are 4, 8. If line CD, not shown, is parallel to line AB, what's the slope of line CD? I don't think this one's all that hard. You just have to know that parallel lines have the same slope. So you can find the slope of this line. You've got 2 points on the line. So just do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 8 minus 2 over 4 minus negative 2. 6 over 6, which is 1. So not too bad. All right, the last thing of geometry, day 2, charts and graphs. The key to charts and graphs problems is to make sure that you take a moment to size up the chart before you look at the question and pay particular attention to the units they're using in the chart. So here's an example. Here's where it tells you the units. Each paw print is 100 dogs. So what this chart shows is the number of dogs washed by Deidre's dog wash. So if we look at this, we can kind of get an idea of which you wash the most dogs, which you wash the least number of dogs, and that we're looking at the first 6 months of the year. So above is a chart representing how many dogs were washed by Deidre's dog wash in the first half of 2004. Which month features the greatest percent increase of the number of dogs washed over the previous month? Okay, so percent increase is something we've talked about before. It's the difference over the original times 100. So, right away I know that I can eliminate 2 of the answer choices. Which 2 can I eliminate? Which ones were not an increase over the month before? February, right? Because it went down in February, it didn't increase. And there's another time.
May.
In May, right? From April to May, it was actually a decrease. So we can already eliminate those 2. Okay, so we won't even check those. So our other ones are March, April, or June. Okay, so let's figure out what was the percent increase in March. So that means what percent did she increase by from February to March? So the difference between the 2 months is 200 dogs, right? 2 paws over the original. That would be in February. So the difference is 200. The original is 200. So that is a 100% increase. She increased the number of dogs that she washed by 100%. She doubled the number of dogs she washed. Okay, so then from March to April, the difference is 300 over the original. In March, she had 400. This is a 75% increase, so it's not April. And then June, she had a 250, right, because there's half of a paw there. 250 dog increase over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 550 dogs originally. Which is obviously not going to be the right answer because that's going to be less than 100%. Let's see what that is. It's like 45.45 repeating. Alright, so the biggest percent increase was in March. Okay, this is a deceptive question because a lot of people would go, well, the greatest increase was in April because she washed 300 more dogs in April than she did in March. Here it was only 200 dogs, here it was only 250 dogs. But it's not the amount, it's the percent. And percent increases difference over what it was before. And so that makes March the greatest increase. So you got to be careful. Okay, graphs. This is the one part of the SAT that I think most people have the least amount of trouble with because this is most like what you do in school. If you're asked to identify the graph of a function, use the vertical line test, which says that a vertical line drawn through the graph of a function should only cross the graph once. If you draw a line and it passes through the graph more than once, it's not a function. So this one you can see is a function because anywhere that I draw a line on this graph, it only cross the graph once. This one is not because anywhere that I would draw a line on this graph, it would cross the graph twice. So, vertical line test, function or not. You're checking to see if the x's repeat. And so you do that with a vertical line. Alright, so last of Geometry Day 2. It's quick quiz number 8.